Let's talk about mental health. So this story caught my attention the other day, and apparently a 6-year-old girl was removed from her school system under Florida's Baker Act and then involuntarily detained for a 48 or 72 hour period here. The big thing was the kiddo's mother wasn't notified here. And this first article is brought to us by Nicole Chavez from CNN.com here. As we can see, this is the young lady that was detained. So as you can see, CNN, 6-year-old special needs girl in Florida was involuntarily committed to a mental health facility because she was out of control at school, according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office incident report. The authorities were called to the Love Grove Elementary School last week after the girl, Nadia King, was destroying school property, attacking staff out of control, and running out of the school, the report said. So basically what ended up happening, kiddo started to act up. She happens to have ADHD. She happens to have some other underlying particularities to her case as well. She's not great at necessarily communicating, and she's also a 6-year-old kiddo. Here's the thing, kids have a lot of energy. Kids throw tantrums and everything. This does happen. Basically, this brings scrutiny to Florida's Baker's Act as well. I did used to work within the greater mental health system as well. I didn't work directly with clients. I worked basically just maintenance in and around. But a lot of these temper tantrum stuff I would see, and people go based upon the legislation, and just we seem to be in a society right now where just people will just kind of go after somebody just for this, that, or the other thing. I mean, we all did, or at least a lot of us heard stories about when our parents were kids. It's like, well, somebody might pull out something. Yeah, we've moved past that and everything. But the big thing in here is a lot of teachers are afraid. I keep on seeing more and more videos of just teachers, they just back off, they just call either the principal or something, and then they just push it out to other people. And unfortunately, without very clear protocols to go about responding to situations, we end up a case like this where basically they reached out to certain people, the police ended up getting involved, and the police literally escorted this young girl who at the time, as we saw from different badge footage that I've heard, is basically just saying, am I going to jail? Stuff, and she's acting calm. Based upon my experience as well, you can have somebody within some of these facilities, and again, I'm making certain assumptions here that may be a similar facility, that some kiddos, they might be perfectly good 1 minute, and then there might be a particular trigger, something that sets them off, and then they just kind of become a completely different person. That's the thing. This does happen within the industry, so I realize there's a certain level of discretion here. But let's just finish up the CNN article real quick, and I want to pop over to a local news article that I found as well. But basically what they're saying here is the Baker's Act allows mental health facilities to hold a person for up to 72 hours for evaluation. A law enforcement officer, a mental health professional, or a circuit court judge may involuntarily commit an individual under the Act if they are thought to be mentally ill, are refusing voluntary examination, and are thought to pose a threat to themselves or others. Here's the thing. If you see a kiddo doing something, at what point? Okay, they're just kind of throwing a chair. What happens if they throw a chair, they hit a kid in the eye or something like that? A kid may lose an eye. And then what happens if you have a slightly older kid? What happens is start pounding a wall around a light switch or an electrical outlet or something like that. Okay, maybe they just hit a wall. What happens if it's just sheetrock or something? They go through and they may potentially electrocute themselves. Where is that line? These are these things that our legislators definitely need to address. We do need more funding, in my opinion, within this industry to try to open up different avenues, try different things, as well as get additional staffing. That's one of the big things. So many of these places, all I know is growing up as a kid, I remember starting off, there's like 18, 20 kids in the class, and you go along, it's like, all right, 24 kids a class, all right, it's like 27, 28. By the time I'm leaving, like there's like 32 to 36 kids in these classes, and you seem to have the same amount of teachers. That's all I'm saying there. But let's just pop over to this other article. This is from News 4 Jax. I'm going to assume that's Jacksonville, Florida there. And this is brought to us by Kelly Wiley. There, apologies if I mispronounced your name, Kelly. All right, the CEO of Mental Health Facility stands behind policies after Jacksonville girl involuntarily committed. All right, so body cam footage of a 6-year-old girl has gained national attention. As we can see here, basically, there's been a lot of footage out there. I'm not going to include it here, but just so folks know, it is available. if you look for it. So Teresa Rulin, the president and CEO of Child Guidance Center, spoke with News 4 Jax, could not speak specifically about the case where the young girl, Nadia, was removed from Love Grove Elementary School and involuntarily committed, or Baker acted. But she did agree to speak about their policies. So basically what she's saying here is, this is a decision made by a licensed mental health professional, is not taken lightly, Rulin said. It's not based on just one thing, it's not based off of information from just one source, it's not typically based off one incident. And then basically we get to some information here. So the data released by the Child Guidance Center shows the 2019-2020 school year, the nonprofit had made the decision to Baker Act 32 children between the ages of 5 and 10. According to their own data, Child Guidance Center says they've managed to divert children from being Baker Acted 289 times for the same age group. And that's the thing. It's just, if you are going to go to that point, we really need it clear out. And especially if you're getting a lot of new folks within the greater education system and whatnot, we need to make sure these folks have the proper training. I'd like to see, personally, in my opinion, some form of mentorship to just kind of understand things, as well as just truly opening up the lines of communication. That's something that we really need badly. It's just, if someone goes up to you and it's a problem, yeah, it might not always be the sexiest thing. Your boss might not always like you right off the bat for going up and just sharing some information that they might not want to hear. But here's the thing. A lot of times information needs to be presented that people don't necessarily want to hear, but that they truly need to hear. That's the thing. But basically, we go into some information here. So let's just take a quick look at stats from the Child Guidance Center. All right, as we see 2017 through 2018, 2018 through 2019, and 2019 through 2020. As you can see, it's roughly around the same, 29, 33, 32. Those numbers divert: 296, 361, 289. It's roughly around a 90+% diversion rate from actually being Baker's acted. And that's the thing. It's like, we often see some very horrible things. But dude, there are a lot of good teachers out there. There are a lot of great professors and everything. And a lot of these folks, I don't think that they feel, a lot of folks that are complaining, I think, about the system at times, they feel like they're kind of being attacked. And that's why I personally am I'm sympathetic to teachers and everything, because I also remember what type of a kiddo that I was at times. I was not easy. Let's just put it that way. But no, this was a story that I really just kind of want to cover for folks that may be interested in here. It really brings into certain questions and critiques of what's going on, what type of policies. I know depending on the state, up in New Hampshire, they're talking about the restraint laws as well, because right in 2015, when I started to get into the industry, those had just come about. And when you start looking at some of the statistics, you see actual effects across the industry. Those seem to mirror each other for similar locations. So, I mean, just coming from an economics and finance, just having studied that in school, it's like there was always that G effect, the government effect. So we try to do the best we can, but sometimes we just got to sit back and reanalyze and see what we can either improve upon, or if we need to undo some legislation, yeah, let's do that. Let's put out something better. So, hey, thank you all for watching. Peace out, everybody. Stay safe.